Hello, dear friends. A triple European nightmare, rearming, growth, and an impossible green transition. According to Cobra, abandoning fossil fuels is unrealistic until a new technology is introduced. Opinion piece. A leap of faith. Wave shift. Turning point. Pivotal moment. Different energy. Challenging year. System implosion. Magic chess game. Transition to 2026. Not an apocalypse. End of a paradigm. A structural collapse. Systemic breakdown. Unique universal year. Let's start. A leap of faith involves acting with absolute trust in the intangible or assente, without empirical evidence or rational guarantees, relying on an inner belief, intuition, or higher power to cross into the void toward a new state. The end of the current year marks the end of the old paradigm. The shift from 2025 to 26 is shaping up to be a leap from transition to execution, from preparation and noise to a pivotal year where trends already underway are consolidated and accelerated. This is equivalent to trusting in an energy explosion as a catalyst for the reset, the great change of Cryon, or the purification of Edgar Cayce, beyond the visible chaos, choosing spiritual elevation over panic. It is a collective act of faith that precedes the manifestation of sovereignty and unified consciousness. The moment when everything explodes describes the critical inflection point, rupture or climax, where accumulated tensions in financial, geopolitical, energy or spiritual systems reach their limit and collapse simultaneously, releasing chaos but also catalyzing a new order. This explosion is not an apocalypse, but a transformative hinge, painful but necessary for sovereignty, transparency, and elevated consciousness, aligned with your interests in prophetic cycles and financial resets. Prophetic dimensions. Prophets, like Edgar Cayce, foresee a multidimensional collapse in 2026. Natural disasters, conflicts, and the spiritual purification that forces a choice between materialism and conscious elevation, marking the end of the old energy. Alternative narratives from this era see it as the trigger for a reset, bank failures, activation of the QFS, and the transfer of wealth to people. In astrology, channelings like Cryon or Nostradamus, it equates to the great shift where light and darkness collide under the influence of Mars and planets in fire and air signs, intensifying polarization but accelerating mass awakening and social restructuring. Several astrologers describe 2026 as the year in which major sign changes of the slow-moving planets consolidate and forcefully propel what has been brewing since 2024 and 25, marking a true beginning of a new era rather than a simple calendar change. There is talk of a strong emphasis on Aries, Gemini, and Aquarius, associated with decentralization, breaking stagnation, and greater polarization between conservative and advanced guard visions. Within prophetic and esoteric literature, 2026 appears as the year of collapse or a critical point. Cayce associates it with a purifying global collapse oriented toward a choice between the material and the spiritual. Other authors speak of 2026 as a moment when everything explodes, or a great transfer of wealth occurs, linking the debt crisis, a change in the financial system, and a leap in collective consciousness. In the alternative world, 2026 is positioned as the point of economic reset, collapse of the debt-based system, full activation of the QFS, and massive debt forgiveness, although this narrative remains speculative. From this perspective, the period between 2025 and 26 is described as a blockage of the reset, with redemption centers ready and an abrupt transition between old banking structures and the sovereign asset-backed system. For many alternative analysts, the 2025 and 26 leap marks the end of the old paradigm and the beginning of a phase of open play and unexpected movements. Within this framework, the shift can be described as a threshold where financial crisis, geopolitical tensions, accelerating energetic and astrological changes, and narratives of resetting and awakening converge, making 2026 a pivotal year rather than just another year in a series. Universal year. The coming year, 2026, is a universal year, representing a very different productive and harmonious energy. Throughout 2025, many ascending individuals have learned to disconnect from an illusory reality. This has involved freeing themselves from imposed structures and choosing to create new ways of life based on devotion, responsibility, inner truth, and unwavering determination. The new year, 2026, encourages living from the heart, rather than a consciousness based on mere survival. This year's frequency encourages clarity rather than chaos, coherence instead of fragmentation, and embodiment instead of avoidance. 2026 possesses a universal frequency of number 1, which is associated with inner power, spiritual authority, self-leadership, ambition aligned with soul purpose, success, and personal fulfillment. It represents new beginnings, energetic readjustments, alignment, transformation, abundance, and self-mastery. This frequency promotes sovereignty, and the courage to lead from truth rather than conformity. Implosion. According to Rose Rumbles, we are witnessing more than just politics. This is a frequency collapse of the old paradigm. The old structure is imploding, while a new energy emerges. The new earth is here, and it is being activated by remembering souls. X22 report. Something strange just happened in the economy. The attacks indicate a loss of control. The advice to never interfere with an enemy as it self-destructs implies that the current strategy is to allow the dark side to continue its path to self-destruction, thus avoiding the need for direct confrontation. According to Steve Biko, Mr. Poole is highly valued for his insight into upcoming events. If a war is brewing, they will make you believe it's a cover for the 10 days EBS broadcast, which in turn is a smokescreen for the downfall of the cabal. As you know, our galactic friends won't allow any global or nuclear party. Redemption. According to Mr. Poole, Level 4B was never designed to be announced, but rather to be recognized. For years, people were conditioned to expect events, dates, payments, and official statements. That expectation was the trap. While attention was focused on politics, wars, and economic panic, the real operation moved silently. The system didn't collapse. It changed its operating standard. When the old parameters can no longer maintain trust, a new layer is introduced, not publicly but silently. This is where Level 4B comes into play, not as a paid group, but as a way to identify who adapts to the new flow without needing instructions. Level 4b describes the people who stayed connected when the grid went dark, those who observed the system's behavior instead of the headlines, those who noticed the language shifting before reality did. This overlap is how transitions are hidden in plain sight. This is the final stage of any system, not collapse but invisibility. That's why there are no real announcements, no confirmation calls, and no official dates. Real change doesn't require permission, it requires alignment. Level 4b isn't the end, it's the delivery point. The moment the old structure can no longer continue without transforming into something else. By the time the public realizes what's changed, the change will feel normal. That's how you know it worked. Stay alert. Don't worry about the noise. Watch the roots. The network is quiet for a reason. Operations. According to JFK Jr., also known as Vincent Fusca, the fire is burning brighter. The tide has turned irreversible in the last few hours. A lightning coalition destroyed the last 3 dark side portals beneath the Amazon rainforest, where these were the cabal's final escape routes and the preparation nodes for the fake rapture beams. The Space Force shot down 7 balloons over the Arctic, prepared to sow the seeds of a fake alien invasion within 48 hours. The Solar Warden fleet has received the green light to accelerate the awakening process. Advanced technology is being released through the Space Force, according to Ismael Perez. The QFS has just reached its tipping point. The transactions are irreversible. Exchange centers are overwhelmed with appointments. The rainbow currency is in the hands of the sovereignists. A coalition executed flawless raids on the last 3 bases under Australia. Quantum infrastructure replaces the old system, unleashing suppressed technology and ushering in a new era of financial sovereignty. The biggest artificial bubble in history won't have a soft landing, according to Harry Dent. The storm isn't approaching, it's inside the house, clearing room by room. Tremendous progress. No one saw it moving so fast. Silence is now survival. The emergency broadcast system is key to the awakening and the reset process. After its activation, a lockdown will occur lasting between 10 and 12 hours. During that period, a new system will be presented to the world with documentaries to reveal past events, expose hidden structures, and awaken to global population. Breakdown. The political chaos is not accidental. The noising on the screens is a cover for the movement behind the curtain, according to Coast Ezra. While the media pushes political trials, court dramas, and election distractions, the leadership has gone silent. Odin Project is designed to override the systems. Starlink traffic has skyrocketed. Unannounced flights have increased. Data centers are being isolated under the guise of cybersecurity events. What they are trying to hide with the political theater is simple. The old power structure is being gradually dismantled. While the public argues the network is being reconfigured, the operation will be visible when the distractions end. What's coming next isn't the system you think it is, but rather the shift, according to Paul Gold-Eagle. The first cracks aren't happening where the public is looking. They are forming deeper, within invisible layers that once kept everything moving. Reflections. James Cameron says he tried to warn people about the dangers of artificial intelligence in his film Terminator, but it fell on deaf ears. All pain that surfaces does so to be released, not to be relieved. You are now breaking down. You are clearing away. By allowing all wounds to surface and dissolve, your system creates space for peace. Healing is not a battle, it is a return according to Keshe. The cause of the mud flood. Tartary didn't fall to war or the weather. It fell to resonant weapons. The frequency liquefied cities. The mud not only buried buildings, silenced giants and froze a frequency, but that signal is returning. Sierra's reflection. I believe that for some human beings, their soul's plan is to remain asleep until they change. But as long as the person is kind, that's what matters. The 3D matrix may be crumbling around us, and we may be living in its ruins, but that doesn't mean we should be intimidated in the process. According to Sierra, our guides gently steer us away from those who don't ascend with us, and toward those who do. It's a magical game of chess. We just have to trust the process. After all, our guides are following our soul contracts. They simply do their job magnificently. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.